Alright, this is just a quick video about, if you smell something while you're driving down the interstate. I noticed that one day I was starting to ever so often smell exhaust inside the cab. It took me forever to figure this out because, I'm just a non-mechanic, I'm just a driver. But finally I sat and I really started to investigate it, and something just told me to check these bolts. When I checked them, every one of these on this exhaust on this side was loose, all the way back to the EGR valve and everything. Back in the back, the EGR valve. All those bolts, those clamps were loose. All these clamps were loose. That got rid of my exhaust smell. Well, then all of a sudden, this should save you a lot of money if you can go ahead and get these fittings changed out to the updated fittings for this engine. But one day I'm driving, I drive along, the same thing. I smell a different smell. It smells like antifreeze burning. Well, I could never find anything dripping on the ground. Never saw anything on the ground. Couldn't see nothing on the engine. No wet spots. All the hoses, none of the hoses have holes in them that go to antifreeze. Well, didn't realize until I had a catastrophic failure that if you look right there, those two lines, those two fittings are the replacement fittings for the original fittings, which are plastic. Well, what was happening, why you won't see a drip, you won't see any wet spots, is if the fittings may crack and separate as you're driving because of the vibration and the bumps of the truck. And what happens, that falls back behind the engine, basically on, I guess, to be the around where the flywheel and stuff is, and because it's so hot, it just burns it off. Well, the reason why you smell all this is because what's right here. This is your air intake for air that comes in for your AC system, for all your air inside your cab. And I didn't realize that, but because I didn't really check back there to see, didn't know those were plastic fittings. The fittings basically sheared off, and I dropped 8 gallons of antifreeze like that. So my suggestion is for anybody that has basically a 2019 or MX-13, 2017 MX-13 engine, and it's a similar setup like this, is to check back in the back and see if you don't see brass fittings, if you don't see these types of fittings. If you don't, you probably have plastic fittings. And when you get a chance, I would just change them out, because otherwise it's going to cost you, if you have to have a good road service like I did. Ended up costing me like $1,200 for them to come bring the parts to me and fix and put the parts in, plus the antifreeze and everything. And I thought I'd just pass that on for anybody hopefully that doesn't happen to anybody, because it could happen at any minute. If you smell antifreeze, you can't find a leak, can't find nothing dripping, check those fittings to see if they're plastic. Don't touch them. The thing I'll tell you now, do not touch them if you smell antifreeze. Because one was snapped off, the other one I thought it was just loose, or it was like a clip or a clamp or something like that, and I touched the other line and the other line snapped off. So, and it's not difficult to change. I mean, if your issue is like mine and those lines sheared off, I think there was 3 bolts that hold that on. If you look right there, there's 2 there, and there's one just on the other side of these lines you can't see, that hold that on, that those fittings fit onto. And then all you got to do is get the old fitting, the plastic part of the fitting out of the grooves. You just got to work on it, work at it. But it'll save you a lot of money if you go ahead and get them replaced instead of waiting until they shear off. Just trying to find ways to help somebody else, like somebody helped me on a lot of stuff, to keep me running out here and save me a lot of money. Because in 2023 I saved approximately $43,600 in labor alone by doing my own the repairs I've done on my truck last year. Alright, it was just gives people a heads up. Like I said, just check your clamps on both sides. On this side you'll smell it, because here's where your air comes for your AC and heat. But I'd also check the other side. The same thing, was because I found all the clamps were loose. I'm guessing the vibration does it. See, as you can see, I'm learning as I go. All right, take it easy, non-mechanics.